We all live in a community, and human race is impossible of living in isolation. So that is what the speciality, or that is what the uniqueness of human race is. So as a human being, we always live in a society, and more specifically we live in a community. So as we all are living in a community, understanding community is inevitable, as we are going to serve as a social worker in that specific community. Hello everyone, I am Amita Patra, Head of the Department, Master of Commerce, Finance and Control, and I am going to depart some knowledge on community and community assessment of the paper Social Management of Master of Social Work. So without much delay, let's start our today's class, that is on community and needs assessment. First, let's understand what do we mean by the community, and if we will look into the word community, that has been derived from two Latin words, that are cum and munis. In English, that cum means together and munis means to serve. So if we make it together, that community means to serve together. And the community is an organization of human beings framed for the purpose of serving together. And community is a people living within a geographical area in common interdependence. So this is what the meaning of community is. And it exists within the society, and community is a specific group while society is an abstract. So if we will look into our previous discussion, when we are talking of the society, and we are talking of the different types of society, so that is an abstract form, and this community is one which is very specific. It is the specific geographic area within which a group of people are living with a very much interdependence, or we can say they are very closely knitted. That is what a community means. So a people who live in a particular geographical locality at a particular time, so a common culture, are arranged in a social structure, exhibit an awareness of their uniqueness and separate identity as a group, which we are calling as a community. So this is what community is, when we have a particular group of people in a specific locality, or what we are saying in a specific geographical area, and they are moreover having a common culture, and they are arranged in a specific social structure, and they all have a uniqueness that they are imparting in that group, that could be identified as a community. And this definition of community, mainly we are following it into two categories, that in one, the main concern is place or neighborhood, or what we have said already, that is the geographical area could be the concern of defining community, or the rest focus on the notion of a relationship of solidarity or communion or interaction, which may go beyond a particular location. So when we are talking of a community, either we are focusing on the geographical area, or we are focusing on the area of living, or the place or the location. That is what could be the focus. Or the other part could be, we are talking of the community when we are talking up the relationship, or the sharing of the common traits or common culture, or that could be another aspect. So on these two aspects, the definition of community can be based on. So a community is a group of individuals connected to each other by one or more attributes. That is what community is, and the element that links them together is at the core and is the essence of the group. So there is a common thread which is attached to that group, that is the common element that is linking that group in all together, that is the core, and that core is the essence of the group of a community. And a certain segment of the population is united by a familiar thread, as we have said, and this population is considered to be a community. So, what could be the types of community? Now, we understand that this is what a community is, or what we are saying, that a group of people, those who are sharing a common location, or we are saying a geographic area, or those who are having a common trait, they are sharing the common culture, they are having some interdependence on each other, could be departed or could be said as a community. So, on the basis of that on which geographical area and what are the conditions on which these particular group of people are staying, could be community can be segregated, or that is what the types of community could be. So, if we will take it, suppose for example, I will say that from where you are from, you might be from a city or town, that is a community in which you are living in. From where your ancestral origin is, or from where you are your origin is. So, it might be at a village, or it might be at a rural base. So, that could be a community, and so that community from where you are belonging, or your origin is, or your, what we are saying, that from where you have migrated, that could be a community, and where you are presently residing, that could also be a community. So, if you will think of the community to community, the traits, the behaviors, the attributes, the daily course of life even is changed, or there is some deviation from one community to another. So, according to the deviations or the specialities that is having in the specific communities, the community can be also divided into various types. So, let us have a look on the types of communities. So, when we are talking of the types of community, the community can be divided on various grounds, as we have already said. So, on the basis of the area of residence, or community can be divided into either an urban community, it could be a semi-urban community, or it could be a rural community. So, when we are talking of or segregating, or we are classifying community on the basis of the area of residence, then we have three types of community. That could be an urban community, semi-urban community, or it can be a rural community. Now, we will go in detail that what these communities have, the specification in them or specialities in them. First, we will talk of the urban community. If we will see in these pictures, you can see that these are the symbolic pictures of the urban community, and if we will see that what are the things that are there in urban community, usually they are very closely spaced, densely populated areas, and they have a very busy lifestyle and do not have a strong sense of community coherence. That is what the urban community is. And most inhabitants of the urban areas have non-agricultural jobs, that is the specification which is mostly found in the urban areas or urban communities. And these urban areas are the hub of territory activities, and these urban areas are the hub of tertiary activities. This urban population or this urban community is having this tertiary activities, which is not the core activities like agriculture. And these urban areas are very developed, meaning there is a density of human structure such as houses, commercial buildings, roads, bridges and railways. That is what an urban communities, and the cost of living in urban areas is usually much higher than in rural areas. So this is what an urban community is. You can have an imagination of how an urban setup is. So that is what an urban community is, which we are saying that they are highly developed, there is scarcity of space, or they are very densely populated areas, and they are having tertiary activities, not very core activities like agriculture or basic activities. And urban community population's lifestyle is a very costly lifestyle than the rural areas. That is the specification of the urban communities. So apart from this urban community, other two communities that we are talking of are the suburban communities. What is that? So here is a picture of a suburban community, you can say. So these suburban communities are the areas which are usually at the outskirts of the urban areas, and they are characterized by the industrial and the manufacturing sectors. So they are just the outskirts of the urban population or the urban community. They are having the characteristics of having the sectors like the industrials and the manufacturing sectors that have been set up bit away from the urban setups. And they are semi-urban and semi-rural. So neither they are urban nor they are rural, they are semi-urban and semi-rural, and the suburbs are smaller urban areas that surround the cities, and most suburbs are less densely populated than the cities. So these suburbs are having a population that is dense, but they are less dense than the urban population, and they serve as the residential area of much of the city's workforce. So most of the city's workforce, or most of the workforce that are going to serve in the urban population or urban community are mostly residing in these suburbs. And the suburbs are made up of mostly single family homes, stores and services. So this is what the suburb is. Now let's have a look on another picture. If we will see, here is the picture of an rural setup. So this is a rural setup or rural community, what we are saying. So what this rural community is, these rural areas are a closely knit community with a strong sense of cultural cohesiveness and community identity, which provide the base or raw material for urban and suburban economies. And the agriculture is the primary industry in most rural areas, and most people live or work on farms or ranches, and hamlets, villages, towns and other small settlements are in or surrounded by the rural areas. So this is what the rural area is. So this is what the types of communities, if we will look into, then we have discussed on the different types of community on the basis of the area of location or the area of residence. So in that we have discussed about the urban community, the suburban community and the rural community. And if you will see that they are like the rural setup, in which the community have a cultural cohesiveness, and the semi-urban community, which is neither urban nor rural, they are semi-urban or semi-rural some of the time also we are saying. They are the community which are just at the outskirts of the urbans, and they are mostly populated, or they have the most of the population of that community is going to serve the urban community, or they are having the workforce of the urban community. And the urban community is supposed to be the highly developed community, but there is no cultural cohesiveness in that community, and mostly all are having a very busy life, and there is that community is very densely populated, and they are mostly having tertiary activities. That is what the types of community on the basis of the the location or the area of residence we are differentiating. Now, apart from this, there could be also other types of community. Let's have a look. That some communities can also be classified based on the purpose that brings them together, that the purpose of that togetherness could be the thread on the basis of which we are having different types of community, and this can be like on the basis of the interest. Communities of people who share a common passion could be a community, and on the basis of the action, like the communities of people trying to bring some kind of change, like the social activists, we can say, for example, having a community of social workers, that is a community in which we are having the population who are having a common purpose of some action. Then we can have, on the basis of the place, communities of people brought together by the mere coincidence of common geographical habitation. So neither they are sharing any common trait nor they are having any common interest, but as they are sharing a common geographical habitation or they are residing in a common place, that could be the community type when we are categorizing it on the basis of the place. It could be a practice, or practice could be another purpose of community. So communities of people who have the same profession or understand the same activities. So according to the practice or according to the profession that they are carrying on, the community can be formed. Then it could be a circumstance, and the communities of people, those who brought together by external or event or situations, that could be a community which is formed on the purpose of circumstances, or circumstance could be a purpose of making a community. So this could be the types of community. So in our previous class we have discussed on society. Now let's interrelate the society and community and find out that what this society and the community is. The society and community are often used interchangeably in everyday life, and society refers to a system or a network of relationships. However, community refers to a group of individuals with a certain sense of belongingness. So while we are talking of society, it might be a network of relationship, but the community is group where there is a sense of belongingness. So a community is defined by a geographical boundary, as we have said, but however the society is universal as it has no definite locality or boundary. So we can have community limited to a specific place or specific geographical area, but community is an universal term. And a sense of belongingness is central to the community. That is what is the core of the community. There is a sense of belongingness, or the feeling of us is there in community. However, a society refers to the network of human relationships and does not require people to feel like they belong to the society. The society exists irrespective of personal royalties. In society, there may or may not have the sense of belongingness, but in a community, belongingness is the center around which the entire community is revolving around. Community is concrete, that is, it exists in physical reality and is defined by a territorial boundary. But society, however, is abstract and does not exist in physical space. So community, if we will say, it is concrete, but the society is an abstract one. So this is what society and community is. Now, what is community development? Now we have understood that what a community is exactly and what is society, and how we are having society and community, or how there is a thin line of difference between this community and society. As a social worker, as a student of social work, our primary aim or primary goal is to serve the society or to work for community in particular, for the development of community, for identifying the need of the community and work for the development of community, which will at the larger end will have a healthy society. Now, what is this community development? Every now and then, as a student of social work, we must be hearing of this community development or of taking of projects or assignments on the development of community. So, before going into detail into how to develop the community, let's understand that what is this community development is. So, community development gives individuals and groups the opportunity to take action and address issues within communities. And problems ranging from economy to social, environmental to cultural can help to rebuild inequitable systems that leave certain demographic populations isolated, marginalized and without access to important resources vital to living efficiently and successfully. So, this is what the development of community is. This is a continuous effort, as we know, to find solutions that benefit the community and enact collective action to empower individuals and agencies to support and improve the lives of disadvantaged communities. So, this community development is a continuous effort to bring up the disadvantaged communities, and it is enacted by a collective action to empower the individuals. So, what is this community's need assessment? A community needs assessment identifies the strengths and resources available in the community to meet the needs. So, this is what the community's needs assessment is. So, if we will talk of now, we understand that what a community is and what is the importance of community development is. So, when we are talking of community development, many things might come into our mind. Like, for example, if it will be asked that what you want to do for a rural community for say, you might come up with an idea of making the children of that community educated or imparting education in that community, which is a very excellent idea. But while you go into that community, suppose for say you go into a particular village of that area, you find out that the most or the major population of that village are adult, they are young, there are very few children who have a school or who have a educational hub nearby. So, what you think of imparting or what you think of giving to that particular community is not going to help them in any way, or we can say that that is not going to bring any development in that particular area. Rather, what is the need of that particular area is to make the youngsters skilled and imparting them some skill enhancement programs, we can say. So, that is what the need assessment is. So, not necessarily that what we feel is good for the development of the community is what they need. We need to assess that what is the need of that community, then only the proper development of the community can be done. So, the assessment focuses on the abilities of the community, including its citizens, agencies and the organizations. So, it provides a framework for developing and identifying services and solutions and building communities that support and the nature children and families. That is what the need assessment is. So, community needs assessment seeks to gather accurate information representative of the needs of a community. So, assessments are performed prior to taking action and are used to determine current situations and identify issues for action. And needs assessment establishes the essential foundation for vital planning. And a community assessment may be limited to a compilation of demographic data from census records, results of a survey conducted by others, and informal feedbacks from community partners. And our assessments may be expanded to include focus group discussions, town meetings, interviews with stakeholders, and telephone or mail surveys to partnership members and the community. So, this is what the need assessment of community can be, or how we can do the need assessment of a community. So, we have understood that what a community is, how vital the community is for the society, and moreover for the social workers. So, when we are thinking of doing a social work, whenever we are thinking of doing some social activity, we need to understand the community, we need to understand how the development of this community can be done, and moreover, more important is we should know that what is the need of that community, and to know the need of that community before planning some action, we need to assess that. And we can do this assessment by some secondary data, like we can have census report, any survey reports, or we can have direct or first hand data or first hand information, like we will go to the field, we will survey, we will have town meetings, we will have questionnaires, we will do some mail surveys, and various other techniques we can adapt and assess the community and find out that what could be the need of that particular community, and accordingly we will take our action plan. So, this is what community and the needs assessment of the community is. So, as a social worker or social activist, it is very important to understand the community first, to understand the need of the communities and assess that what are the requirement and need of the community, and accordingly to take the action plan that we have understand vividly in today's class. So, in our further classes, we will be understanding that what are these communities resources, how we are going to take our action plans, what could be the markets, what could be the economy, what are the social capital, like other various interesting things we are going to study in our further classes and make a nice social management. For today, this is all. Thank you.